And I wanted to see if I could walk 100k, whilst at the same time doing something that I believed in.
We've chosen to do this because it's a personal challenge, but we like the fact that it's for Oxfam because the work Oxfam does is different.
I figured if someone in Papua New Guinea can push a water tank 5k across ridiculous terrain, I can walk 100k.
It's such a different lifestyle and it's so hard to think of that or put yourself in their shoes, and I think for Oxfam Trailwalker it's about doing a little bit of that, even if it's just for a short while, and going through some sort of emotional difference to feel a little bit of what they might feel on a daily basis. And I mean, it's obviously bigger than just the water issue, but I think that's like a really obvious one when you're out there walking.
Always considered myself to be a compassionate person, and it's one thing to challenge yourself and to go out there and see if you can do something physically demanding. But for me, it's a much different experience to go out there and do something physically demanding that has a real, tangible, important benefit to other people around the world who are much less fortunate than ourselves.
Leading up to the day, man, there was a lot of emotions. I would say there was excitement, there was definitely nerves. It felt like, particularly on the drive up to the start of the walk.
Did not think I could do it. I'm the girl that drives to the dairy. Once I'd got rid of that self-doubt, it was excitement and nerves.
It was surreal. It was kind of like, yeah, we know that we're doing this, but it wasn't actually until 6 o'clock on the Saturday morning when we arrived in the dark at the start point, we all went, oh my God, this is actually now real. And then all started to feel kind of slightly sick, but really excited at the same time.
The size and the excitement of the event once we got to the start line was pretty awesome. It gives you a big boost. You realise, oh man, there's people that aren't like amazing athletes here. There's people of all shapes and sizes, which is comforting. And so you go, okay, I'm one of those as well. If they're keen to do it, then there's no reason I can't.
And then yeah, Huda just goes off and everyone starts walking, and you can't really be nervous once you start because you've got 100 kilometres to go, and staying nervous for 100 kilometres would be a bit ridiculous.
Since I stepped over the line, I knew I'd given my all because of the training. It's a case of you go out there and do your best, and then you just see what happens. If you're able to achieve it, great. If you can't make it to the end, no problem. As long as you know you've given your all, hey, you can't do any more than that.
I think we all had our ups and downs throughout it. And the great thing about it being a team event was that if you were having, you know, a low moment, then the rest of your team is around you to support you and get you through that. For me personally, I had a little breakdown and cry at 95 kilometres.
I remember walking out of checkpoint 4 and laughing in pain and saying, about 500 meters away from the checkpoint, saying, my feet feel terrible. They could not feel any worse than they feel right now. You have a very long portion of the event that happens in the dark, and it does get pretty hopeless. 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours of darkness. You feel like you're living in the darkness. All of a sudden you're a miner or something underground and the sun's never going to come out again.
We walked for 18 kilometres in single file with nothing sensory either to look at or to really think about. That was the hardest part, was actually walking in the dark. That was mentally challenging. and the mental challenge for myself and my teammates was actually far much more.
We're about 70, 80k in is when I really started to feel it, and that's when I knew I was on the limit of how far I could push myself. There was pains that I'd never felt before, there was emotions that I'd never felt before.
You could see that there were other teams in the same position as you. Everybody was knackered, everybody was really low, it was cold, it was wet, it was pitch black. It was horrible. I sat in the camper van and cried for about 40 minutes. But in my head, I didn't want to be the girl that didn't finish. I wanted to see my team come over the finish line, but didn't want to be there if I couldn't cross that finish line with them.
The finish was awesome. I think a lot of relief as you come across the finish line.
It was pouring with rain, and we kind of thought, we're going to make this everything it can be because we've achieved a huge amount. So we walked up the gantry and everyone was cheering and screaming, which was fabulous. We actually had bottles of champagne that we wanted to shake at the finish. So we actually spent 2 minutes, I think, shaking champagne and spraying it everywhere before we actually crossed the finish line.
Really special for us to walk across as a team of 4. We started out as a team of 4 and we wanted to finish as a team of 4. And I think for us, coming across that finish line together was just awesome.
The welcome we got at the end and the medals and just the congratulations from Oxfam staff and volunteers from other teams was amazing.
Really powerful to look to my left and to look to my right and see all 4 of us through all that we had been through, and we actually did it. And looked at each other in the eyes and thought we did something amazing here today.